So I guess we're gonna do some art today for you. So this is the first ever speed paint I've ever done. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm just putting liquid white onto the canvas. And for the style that I use, it's very similar, or rather it is the style that Bob Ross uses, where it's wet on wet, and by that he means that you put wet paint on wet paint on wet paint and so on and so forth, where you can do that, or you can do wet on dry, which some people do, where you would just have one thing, you would paint one thing on and let it dry, and then paint the next layer on and let that dry, and so on and so forth. And so the first thing I did is you work from, with this style you work from back to front. So the first thing I did was I dropped in a sky, and I left some white areas in, so when I went back and blended it like that, it leaves some light and dark areas, so it seems like light's shining through the clouds or something like that. And then the water, it looks like there's a shimmer going down the middle. And then for the mountain, all I did is use the knife, and I kind of just picked some colors and threw them together, and then you just kind of put a shape that you want to get, and you just smooth it all out, and then it gets really, it's more distinct at the top, and then it's very not distinct at the bottom. And then you can go back in, and you can go put on this, on one side you can put the snow if you want a snowy mountain, or if you just want a rocky mountain you could put something like brown for dirt, and then on the other side you have your shadow, and you can make entire mountains with just a knife. You don't even use a brush at all. And so anytime that I'm not painting, like off to the side, I'm probably washing a brush, or I'm mixing some colors, but and right there I'm just kind of smoothing the bottom out and making it all seem like it's just fading into nothing. And then over here, I didn't like that first color that I put on there. It was a little too light, so I went back and I darkened it a little bit, and then I'm using a fan brush and trying to put some trees way back in the distance in front of the mountains. And then something really simple you can do is if you pull down the color, you can make reflections. But the color that I put on there wasn't sticking very well, so I had to go and get some more color and pull it down. And then you just brush it to the side and add a waterline as I did, and it looks like reflections. And then I just decided, you know, let's just put a landmass here. I don't really know what I'm gonna do when I paint. You just kind of do it. Be like, well, I'm gonna put in the sky. I guess we'll have some water in here, and then you throw in a mountain, and then you just kind of decide step by step what you're gonna do. You don't really have, or at least I personally don't really have an idea of what I'm gonna do before I do it. I just kind of go at it and whatever pops in your head, because if you've ever painted before, or you painted like this, you'll notice that you see things as you paint. So you'll just be painting, and then out of nowhere in your mind, you just have a vision to put something there. You're like, well, I feel like I can put this here, and then you just put it in, and then you see something else, and you see something else, and you just keep seeing things, and you keep putting things in. So everything that I'm doing, I had no idea I was going to do it. I just kind of kept going and putting things in as I saw them. So you got a mountain, and then you got some trees on a lake. And I mean, the lake in the beginning, you can put a lake there, and then you can end up covering it up completely with land. I mean, the cool thing about this style is that you're not committed to anything. So I put a lake there, but I can completely cover it up and make something like this, where it's a mountain, and then it's a lake, and then there's a pond over here on this small little island. I mean, maybe it's an island, maybe it's not. We don't really know. So it's basically your kind of world, and I always try to tell that people. They try like, oh, paint me this, paint me that. It's like, the way I do it is it's kind of like my world, so I can't really paint what people want to paint. I just kind of paint whatever's in my head, and that's why I like painting this so much. And then I'm just gonna leave my signature, and there's the finished product. So I hope you guys like it, and see you next time.